almost half of the parliament is women. And as you see here on the stage, we have one of Sweden's leading politicians, König Jerlmyr, who is Stockholm's socialborgarråd. And that means the deputy mayor with special responsibility for social affairs. She is the powerful woman in Stockholm who has control over social work and other things, although I think social workers are difficult to control. So, our welcome. Thank you for welcoming us to Stockholm.
And thank you. Thank you for that presentation. First of all, also I want to welcome you all to Stockholm. Everyone here today represents a wide range of experience and valuable knowledge. You are civil servants, you're social workers, teachers, researchers, students, NGOs, client organizations, and healthcare providers. And I really hope I haven't forgotten any of you, since everyone here today are essential for this conference. And I feel deeply honored that you're gathering here in Stockholm, Sweden, for this second joint World Conference on Social Work and Social Development. I also welcome you all to Stockholm, the city which we proudly call the capital of Scandinavia. Stockholm, yeah, that's worth an applaud. Oh, I hear we have some friends from Denmark here. Well, and Norway, welcome. Stockholm has become the economic center of Scandinavia, and it is a city built on 14 islands, and it's the home of more than 870,000 inhabitants, including many from countries all over the world. You are all here to exchange experience and to contribute to develop social work all over the world. However, let me start with a different perspective. A century ago, Stockholm was one of the most polluted cities in Europe. Coal was the most common fuel, and a great fog covered the city, and the lake surrounding Stockholm was extensively contaminated. But today things are very different. Stockholm has the reputation of being one of the cleanest capitals in the world, and it's now possible to fish or go for a swim in the waters of central Stockholm, something that would have been seen as an unachievable goal not too long ago. I mention this because I think it's a good example how something that seems impossible in reality can be achieved. And over a century ago, Sweden was also a very poor country, and a great share of the Swedish population emigrated to America with hopes for a better future and with great dreams. And just as the environment has changed during the last 100 years, so has the Swedish economy and living standards. And we are now a country that people come when they look for a new beginning. And not least are we working for all the refugee children coming all alone to Stockholm, Sweden, and we try to give them the best possible start in the new country. So as you understand, integration is one of our main challenges ahead. And today we are working in the spirit of sharing our know-how with the rest of the world, but we are just as eager to learn from others who achieved greatness in their cities and societies. And I know there is many good examples represented here today. And this is why we are gathering here at the Stockholm International Fairs. This is a place built with one purpose: to learn from others and to share ideas. And I took a quick look at the upcoming events and fairs, and I found topics such as elderly welfare, championship in young businesses, and even a Zumba event, because you know Zumba is very popular here. And I'm sure that we all can relate to each other's difficulties and problems. And I think one issue that many countries share is the demographic change. And the question of how to fund the welfare, especially in these difficult economic times. And I think this is a major challenge for all of us. And it's getting increasingly important to develop and adjust social welfare to the modern community. Sweden, with about 9.5 million citizens, has a population that is getting older as life expectancy goes up. In fact, every second child born in Sweden today is expected to live until they are at least 100 years old. And we are now facing a future where a lower proportion of the population as a whole will have to support an increased amount of people as they retire. And as a vice mayor and the head of the social division, I can't be standing in front of you without taking the opportunity to mention some of the work done recently. And don't worry, I will keep it short and just give you 2 examples. First, for me as a person and for Sweden in general, human rights are essential. Everyone has a right to go to school and make their own choices as who to marry. Sweden has developed throughout the empowerment of the individual, regardless of gender, culture, and social background. And therefore, we are soon opening up a center for victims of honor-related violence and oppression in Stockholm. It's a place where young people can turn to when in help for need. And in the center, professionals like police, social workers, and healthcare personnel will work together to give the best possible support for the victims. The second thing I would like to mention is how we communicate with young people. I think that many of you can relate when I say that parents nowadays learn from their children when it comes to internet and computers. In Sweden, almost half of all our 2-year-olds use the computer nowadays. And we can see how younger people in Sweden and all over the world have social media and internet as a social and natural contact forum. They don't spend hours on the phone every day, as I did when I was a teenager. No, instead they prefer text messages, email, and Facebook, rather than talking on the phone. And all this tells us it's really time to adjust our way of working and adapt to the new situation. So we found that we have to exist online. So we now are developing our work, our social work, online, so you can get in contact with social services and chat with them. And this gives us new possibility to reach people that we have difficulties reaching today. I know this is not a regular type of challenge for all of us here today, and we all have our own problems and challenges that needs to develop. But there's one thing that is the same for all of us. As a head of the social division, it's important for me that we all work with evidence-based practice. It doesn't matter where in the world you live or what resources you have. The possibility to follow up results gives us advantage when it comes to develop our work and meet the challenges as we see today. And this requires a dialogue with mutual respect. It also requires brave politicians that take necessary decisions based on evidence-based results. And a year ago, I met an economist who spent decades studying the cost for society to put social work into action if a child starts to show signs of need for extra support and help. Signs that most teachers and daycare personnel testify they can notify at an early stage. But above all, he studied the cost for the society if we don't do anything, and if we wait until it's too late to work preventively. And cost difference is enormous, both when it comes to human cost and when it comes to cost for the society. Instead, think infrastructure investment. We build a bridge to maintain for a lifetime. If it gets damaged or become a crack, we repair it as soon as it appears. But what if we don't repair the crack and just wait until it starts to fall apart for real, and then make a very large, very expensive emergency repair instead? No, I think we all have to think more in terms of long-term investment, not only when it comes to infrastructure, but also when it comes to early intervention in our children. And this also shows the importance of social inclusion. A lot of you are here since social work is somehow a part of your profession or of great interest. But I also know that many of you are here on a voluntary basis. And did you know that studies have shown that a Swede on average spends 16 hours a month on voluntary work? and this represents more than 400,000 full-time jobs. So it is a lot of knowledge and experience that we need to take advantage of. It also shows the importance of the civil society and great organization like Fryshuset that performed here earlier today. As a final part, I would like to mention something about your work. I think many of you agree that social area is difficult and sometimes heartbreaking. But there is also a lot of positive things in this field, both revolutionary and innovative. And you can, in many ways, provide the tool for people to change their life for the better. And for that, we are all grateful. And at last, don't forget to enjoy my hometown during this couple of days and the Swedish summer. I hope the weather will be better. But I also want you to remember that Swedes are, according to the International Coffee Organization, ranked as the second in the world when it comes to coffee consumption per person. So get yourself ready for some serious fika during your stay. And fika means a typical Swedish break that includes coffee and something sweet. And take it as an opportunity to see it as social inclusion. And once again, I wish you a really interesting conference. I've seen the program and it looks really, really interesting. And of course, I wish you a fantastic stay in Stockholm. Thank you.